This lesson is about the call for Agile Project Management. One thing we always need to remember is that when teams choose or make a preference for Agile, it is because they are shifting away, because the traditional waterfall project management is usually the default development approach for all teams. So when teams choose the Agile project management or the Agile development approach, it is actually a shift away from the traditional approach for managing projects. But there is a reason teams would have to do that, or teams would want to do that. In this lesson, we discuss the reasons why teams will choose Agile, or the defining attributes of Agile project management. The first thing I would like to talk about Agile is the fact that it utilizes an empirical procedure in order to evolve the solution, in order to create the deliverable of the project. Now, when we talk about empirical procedures, we are looking at methods that utilize trial and experimentations in order to evolve the solution they are looking for. Now, unlike traditional waterfall project management, which utilizes a defined process simply because what is being done has been done over and over again, there is a blueprint they can reference. There are procedures that are already established that they can follow stage by stage in order to get to that final outcome. But for Agile projects, when you are doing something that has never been done before, because Agile projects are happening in a highly dynamic environment, maybe the situation you are looking at has never been encountered before, or you are confronting something in ways that have never been attempted before, you have no choice than to use empirical procedures in order to evolve the solution. Number two, Agile projects are known as the adaptive life cycle. Whereas waterfall, we call waterfall predictive life cycle, we call Agile project management the adaptive life cycle, because it is the methodology that adapts to changing circumstances. Now, one thing you always need to remember is that Agile frameworks have been developed to be more responsive to change. They have been developed to adapt to changing circumstances, because in any case, it's the reason we choose Agile. When we are working in a highly dynamic environment where changes are rampant, then you need a framework that easily adapts to these changes. Now, once again, on COVID, those of you who were following the news, you heard that the viruses kept mutating. They kept changing their behavior. Okay, so whatever they were developing, they needed to what? Adapt their methods to the changing circumstances, to the changing nature of these viruses. That is how Agile projects are. You keep adapting, you keep changing, all right, in order to accommodate the changes that are happening in the project's environment. Now, with this follows this other attribute. Agile projects are known as change-driven. Even as waterfall projects are plan-driven, they are driven by the plans you create. For Agile projects, the procedures are driven by the changes that happen in the project environment. Now, it is also known as the iterative framework. I think I've shown you that in the previous video. It utilizes several iterations. It goes through the cycle several times in order to improve on the solution and make it fit for purpose or fit for use. And then, of course, it is called Agile. Anything that is Agile is something that is fluid, that is responsive, okay, that accommodates to change. Now, let us examine 10 use cases for Agile. When do you choose Agile project management? Number one, when what you are doing has never been done before, or you are confronted with a situation that has never happened before. You would require empirical procedures, trial and experimentations in order to develop the solution. Number two, when what you are doing you are choosing an approach that has never been tried before. An approach that has never been tried before. So, for example, as for houses, okay, they've been built over and over again. So it's a predictive environment, okay. But let's say that you now want to build a house under the sea. Of all places, you have nowhere to build your house, your dream house. You want to build that dream house under the sea. Now, even though the idea of building construction is common, it's not a new thing, the location where you have selected makes it dynamic, makes it different, okay? So definitely, because you are doing it in an unknown environment or in an environment that is not typical of the project, you definitely employ trial and experimentations in order to get it done. Number three, incomplete information or requirement at the start of the project. Most agile projects do not have all the information available at the start of the project. They don't. For example, I keep referencing COVID because it's a recent phenomenon, okay? Right from the start, they didn't have all the information about the viruses. They didn't have all the information about the procedures they need to undertake in order to develop the vaccine. They didn't have the information that as they move along, the viruses will mutate, they will change their nature. They didn't know that. It just happened, okay? So for most agile projects, the information available to fully develop the scope of the solution is usually scanty at the start, okay? But they start anyway, and the information comes in progressively, okay? That is not to say that if you are working on a predictive environment, okay, or on a predictive project, because you want to go for agile, you hide some of the information so that you can be justified in your use of agile. Of course, you can use agile for any kind of project however you want it, but that is not what we are saying here. When naturally the information is simply not there, it's not available. Now remember that waterfall projects also command their own strengths, okay? Waterfall projects have plans made robust so that no fool comes around changing things. That is the advantage of waterfall, okay? But for agile, because we are working with changing elements, we need to break that code. We need to make the methodology more responsive to changes, all right? Number four, unproven or yet to be proven value. I'll be talking about minimum viable product as we proceed, okay? When you are working on an innovation-based solution, something that has never happened before, you want to introduce a crazy product into the market, okay? And it's something that the market is not familiar with. You would have to use empirical procedures. You have to go for agile, okay, in order to evolve the solution. So for minimum viable product, what we do is that we create a minimum version of our product idea and test it in the market in order to gauge the interest of our target users. If it's a green light, then we keep upgrading the product based on the feedback from the marketplace, based on the feedback from our customers, all right? So it's actually an empirical procedure in order to evolve it to the way they want it. But usually we don't have all that information from the start. We need to give them something to engage them, to engage their interest, and then the rest follows after that. Number five, unknown variables. When you're working with unknown variables, I think that most of the things I have mentioned here have to do with unknown variables, okay? You are not so sure how things will be and all of that. You have to go for agile, all right? Number six, when the uncertainties are high on the project, requirements or technical uncertainties are high on the project, then it's also a dynamic environment. You need to go for agile so that you can confront those changes with the evolving nature of the methodology. Number 7, when there are too many assumptions. Too many assumptions. And of course, assumptions arise out of uncertainties. Okay? And that is why research projects are purely agile projects. Research projects utilize trial and experimentations, empirical procedures in order to develop the outcomes, because research projects dwell on assumptions. They keep building on one assumption after another. Number 8, when you are working in an environment that has rampant or rapidly changing requirements, you will need agile. Yes, the environment is so fluid, it's so dynamic, things keep changing. It's not static. Okay. Number 9, high rate of change, complexity, and risk. The environment has high risk, very complex. Then you will need a methodology that adapts to changes. And then number 10, when you are working with untested materials. Once again, let me even use the building construction, for example. Houses have been built all this while with bricks, with blocks. But this time around, you want to build your house with plastic bottles. That is not typical, okay? That is your response to recycling, okay? That is how you want to recycle plastic waste, okay? You want to mold them and then use them as building materials. That is good, fair enough. But because you are using materials that are not known for that job, you have to employ empirical procedures in order to get to the final outcome. Yeah, so let's go through some of these attributes in greater detail, point by point. Number 1, we use Agile when the full scope of the work is not known or crystal clear from the onset. Procedures for accomplishing work may not also be crystal clear. There is little or no blueprint to follow. We trust in the flow as more information becomes available. The work evolves with the development. The work grows in branches. More and more work is revealed as you proceed. Number 2, in Agile, changes are encouraged every step of the way. Number 3, because entire scope of work is not fully known, bulk planning cannot occur upfront. Agile projects utilize a rolling wave planning approach where only initial works are planned into detail and estimated for, whilst planning for remaining work evolves, a kind of plan as you go. Number 4, Agile projects do not typically flow in a single pass. Agile projects are noted for a lot of back and forth iterations among the various stages. Number 5, because scope cannot be fully planned upfront, cost and schedule cannot also be fully planned upfront. Cost and schedule evolve as more scope is revealed. Teams that attempt to create cost and schedule baselines from the onset for these kinds of projects most often do not get it right. I told you, the scope controls many aspects of the project. What you are doing, the deliverables, the defining features and functions of the deliverable actually controls other aspects of the project. So if you cannot fully plan the scope, or you cannot plan the scope upfront, it also means that you cannot plan the cost and the schedule upfront. It's as simple as that. Number 6, improving outcomes through multiple iterations and the creation of successive prototypes in order to prove the concept or result, and releasing in bits in order to measure acceptance by increment or realize business value quickly, and to avoid the error of going way down the wrong path are the heart and soul of Agile development. Great. So let's look at some advantages quickly, some advantages of Agile, and then we bring this discussion to a close. 1, tackling projects with high amounts of uncertainties via small incremental releases reduces the tendency for rework or wasted effort. I think you can connect with that. 2, early feedback gained from initial release can change what the team does next. Make adjustments before further investment of time and money are made. 3, continuous engagement enables teams understand customer requirements faster and more accurately, address misunderstood or hidden requirements sooner, incorporate new or changing requirements, adapt to changes and market dynamics, thereby reducing customer dissatisfaction. Instead of following a plan, Agile projects get measured on value delivered. Now, one thing about Agile is that it includes the customer and business representatives as part of the team. Okay, because they need to understand the mind and heart of the business, of the client every day, every blessed day. So they are actually a part of the team, and that is what we call customer collaboration. Always collaborating with them, always ensuring that they are kept in the communication loop, so we know even if their mind changes, because the client can also change their mind. The business can change their mind. And I told you, Agile projects have been developed to be more responsive to change. So that is why there is constant customer collaboration, so that in case there is a change of mind, that change can quickly be incorporated. Okay? Number 4, continuous value testing enables teams deliver outcomes that work, that align or resonate with market needs. And continuous prioritization enables teams deliver what is most needed. And finally, receiving subsets of solutions or deliverables in small increments enables businesses to begin realizing business value quickly in today's fast-paced world. Remember, we are still training for your PMP Project Management certification. Join us for in-person classes in Ghana. Wherever you are in the world, in Africa, Europe, America, you can also join our online sessions. Remember, we have a very strong and effective post-training system to get you to the finish line. Also get in touch if you want to pursue the Professional Scrum Master certification, the Certified Scrum Master, or the Agile Certified Practitioner. Together, we will write that victory song. Thank you very much, and see you in the next lesson.